The gunshot echoed off the marble steps of the Capitol like a thunderclap from hell, and I froze, my heart slamming against my ribs as blood bloomed across Richard's white shirt. "David," he gasped, his blue eyes locking onto mine, not with fear, but with that same reckless fire that had drawn me to him from the start. "Tell them." It was worth it. The crowd surged, screams ripping through the air, but all I could see was his hand slipping from mine, the one he'd gripped so tightly just seconds ago in front of God, the cameras, and a mob chanting "Faggots go home." I met Richard Harrington on a rain-slicked night in D.C., the kind where the Potomac smells like wet concrete and broken dreams, and the city's pulse throbs with secrets nobody wants to whisper. I was 24, fresh out of a nowhere job at a Georgetown coffee shop, slinging lattes to tourists who thought the White House was just a photo op. "My name's David Ruiz." Yeah, the kind of name that gets you side-eyed in boardrooms and back-alley bars alike. Mexican mom, Irish dad who bailed before I could walk, raised in the sprawl of Baltimore where survival meant keeping your head down and your fists up. I'd come to the Capitol chasing ghosts of a better life, maybe law school if the scholarships panned out, but mostly just scraping by in a studio apartment that reeked of ramen and regret. That night, I was tending bar at the Raven's Wing, a dive-off-you street where the drag queens ruled the stage and the whiskey burned like holy water. It was Pride after-party spillover, rainbows smeared across leather jackets, laughter cutting through the bass-heavy trap beats. I was pouring a Jack and Coke when he walked in, shaking rain from his blonde curls like he owned the storm itself. Tailored wool coat, no umbrella, eyes the color of Lake Michigan in summer. He looked like he'd stepped out of a Kennedy campaign poster, all sharp jaw and easy grace, but there was a crack in the facade, a flicker of something hunted in his gaze. "Scotch. Neat," he said, sliding onto a stool with a smile that hit me like a sucker punch. Up close, he was younger than he seemed, maybe 22, with laugh lines that hadn't earned their keep yet. I nodded, pouring from the top shelf because fuck it, he looked like he could afford it. Or at least, his daddy could. "Rough night?" I asked, leaning on the scarred oak bar, wiping a spill that wasn't there. "Flirting? Hell, I didn't know." But his eyes lingered, tracing my ink-sleeved arms like he was reading Braille. He chuckled, low and warm, the sound curling around my gut. "You could say that." Senator's son crashing a queer bar incognito. What could go wrong? My hand froze mid-pour. Harrington. As in, Senator Elias Harrington, the firebrand from Virginia, the guy who'd filibustered the Equality Act last session, thundering about traditional values while his donors cheered. The man who'd called my community's fight for marriage rights a slippery slope to Sodom, and here was his golden boy, sipping scotch in a place where men kissed without apology. "You're shitting me," I said, sliding the glass over. Our fingers brushed electric, accidental, and he didn't pull away. "Richard," he extended a hand, firm grip, calluses from. "What, lacrosse? Sailing? And no, not shitting. Just exploring the family blind spots." I shook it, feeling the heat climb my neck. "David. And if your old man's goons show up, I'm charging double for the drama." He laughed again, that sound like sunlight breaking clouds, and stayed till closing. We talked easy, like we'd been trading barbs for years. He was pre-law at Georgetown, interning for some think tank that sounded like a front for oil money. Hated the hypocrisy, loved the chess game of it all. I told him about Baltimore nights dodging cops in the clubs. The first time I kissed a boy behind a dumpster and tasted freedom and fear in equal measure. By last call, the rain had stopped, and he was walking me to my beat-up Honda, collar turned up against the chill. "David," he said at the curb, breath fogging the air. "What if I said I wanted to do this again? Without the rain. Maybe with dinner." My heart did a stupid flip. Guys like him didn't ask guys like me out. Not in this town, where power was currency and love was a liability. But his eyes, God, those eyes held no games. Just hunger, raw and real. "Then I'd say yes," I replied, "but only if you promise not to quote your dad's speeches at me." He grinned, stepping closer, the space between us shrinking to a whisper. "Deal." And then he kissed me, soft at first, tentative, like testing if the world would crack. Didn't. Not yet. We fell hard, fast, the way you do when the clock's ticking and the stakes are sky high. First date. Hole-in-the-wall Ethiopian on 14th. Injera staining our fingers as we argued Supreme Court precedents over spicy lamb. He quoted Ginsberg. I fired back with Thurgood Marshall. By dessert, his hand was on my thigh under the table, thumb tracing circles that made my skin sing. Second date. Nationals game. Cheap seats where the beer was warm and the crowd was a roar of possibility. He bought me a foam finger, waved it like a flag of surrender, and when the Nats hit a homer, he hooped and pulled me into a kiss that tasted like hot dogs and hope. No one batted an eye, or if they did, we didn't care. DC had its pockets of acceptance, after all. Sex came on the third night, in his off-campus apartment overlooking Foggy Bottom, crisp sheets, bookshelves groaning under constitutional law tomes, a view of the Washington Monument piercing the dawn like a promise. He was gentle at first, reverent, mapping my body with hands that trembled just enough to make it real. "You're beautiful," he murmured against my collarbone, voice thick with want. I laughed it off, but inside, something cracked open. A vulnerability I'd armored against since puberty hit, and the world started whispering, sin. We moved like we were made for it, sweat slick and urgent, his gasps in my ear a litany of my name. Afterward, tangled in sheets, he traced the tattoo on my ribs, a phoenix rising from flames, inked after my mom's funeral. "For you?" he asked softly. "For surviving," I said. "And now, maybe for this." He kissed the ink, then my lips, slow and deep. For us, that word, us, hung in the air like smoke from a spent candle. It was too soon, too fragile, but in the quiet hours before sunrise, felt like truth. Weeks blurred into a rhythm. Stolen lunches in DuPont Circle. His head in my lap on park benches. Late-night drives to Arlington. Windows down. Springsteen blasting as we screamed lyrics about Born to Run hearts. He introduced me to his safe friends, a ragtag crew of poli-sci majors who rolled their eyes at Daddy Harrington's latest tweet storm but still tiptoed around the edges. I met them at a kegger in Adams Morgan. Richard's arms slung casual around my shoulders, like it was nothing. Like we weren't a scandal in human form. "You're good for him," his roommate Lena whispered over solo cups, her braids swinging as she hip-checked me. "He smiles more." Like, actually smiles. I wanted to believe it. But shadows lurked. A missed call from his father. Voicemails laced with "Son, we need to talk." Whispers from my own crew at the bar. "That trust fund twink. Watch your back. Mijo." And then, the first real test, Thanksgiving looming, his family's estate in McLean calling like a siren's song laced with hemlock. "Come with me," he said one night, forehead pressed to mine in the dim glow of my apartment. "Fuck the optics. I want you there." My stomach twisted. "Your dad's the guy who compared us to pedophiles on Fox last month." "You sure that's a win?" He pulled back, ice fierce. "I'm sure about you." "About this." His hand cupped my face, thumb brushing my lip. "David, I love you." The words landed like a grenade, shrapnel embedding in my chest. Love. In 3 months, but looking at him, vulnerable, defiant, all sharp edges softened for me, I knew it was mutual. "I love you too," I whispered, the admission tasting like freedom. So I said yes. Packed my one good button down, the cologne that didn't scream, bargain bin, and drove with him to the Virginia suburbs, where manicured lawns hid the rot of old money. The Harrington estate was a colonial monster, white pillars, wraparound porch, flags snapping in the autumn wind like accusations. Elias Harrington greeted us at the door, all bear hugs and backslaps, his grip on my shoulder lingering a beat too long, eyes appraising like I was livestock. "David, right? Richards told us all about you. Law school bound. Impressive. Likewise, Senator." I managed, stomach churning as his wife, cool, Botoxed Margaret, air-kissed my cheek, her perfume cloying as formaldehyde. Dinner was a minefield, crystal goblets clinking, turkey carved with surgical precision. Richard's hand found mine under the damask tablecloth, squeezing like an anchor. We talked baseball, the economy, safe waters. But then, over pie, Elias leaned in, voice dropping to that Senate floor timbre. "Richard, son, about that internship extension. And your mother's gala next month. Family first, always." Richard's jaw tightened, fork scraping china. "Family's bigger than blood, Dad." "David's part of mine now." The table froze. Margaret's smile cracked like thin ice. Elias's eyes narrowed, flicking to me. Pity? Disgust? Bold words. But boldness without wisdom is folly. "Boy," I squeezed back, nails digging crescents into Richard's palm. "With all due respect, Senator." "David," Richard cut in, voice steady, "let's take a walk." We fled to the veranda, the night air crisp, stars mocking us from a velvet sky. He paced, fists clenched, while I leaned on the rail, heart pounding. "I'm sorry," he muttered. "I thought. Maybe." "Hey!" I pulled him close, his head tucking under my chin, body trembling against mine. "You stood up. That's everything." He looked up, eyes shimmering. "For you, I'd burn it all." We kissed there, under the Harrington gaze, windows glowing like watchful eyes, desperate, affirming. Inside, voices rose faintly, Elias's baritone booming. But out here, it was just us. For now. Back in D.C., the afterglow faded fast. Protests erupted downtown, anti-LGBTQ bill his father co-sponsored, drawing crowds with signs like, "Adam and Eve, not Adam and Steve." Richard dragged me to the counter-rally, megaphone in hand, chanting with queer activists in leather and glitter. "We saw you on C-SPAN last night," a drag queen named Vixen purred, fanning herself. "Senator's boy gone rogue." "Delicious." He blushed, but held my hand high, interlacing fingers for the cameras. A photographer snapped it, front page of the Post the next day. Harrington air marches for marriage. The internet exploded. Trolls calling him a traitor, allies crowning him a hero. Elias's office issued a statement, proud of his passion, misguided in direction, but the damage was done. Richard's phone buzzed nonstop. Mine, too, with warnings from friends. They're digging, man. Your green card status? Old arrests. I shoved it down. We had each other, nights tangled in my narrow bed, his whispers of forever against my skin. Marry me, he said one dawn, tracing my knuckles. Fuck the law. We'll go to Canada, or Spain, anywhere they can't touch us. Tears pricked my eyes. Richard, shoo. Say yes. Yes, but promises are paper thin in Washington. 2 weeks later, the leak hit. Anonymous email to every major outlet. Photos of us kissing in the park. My hand on his ass outside the Raven's wing. Senator's son in sordid affair with undocumented lover. The headline screamed. Undocumented? Bullshit, I had papers. But who cared about facts when scandal sold? Elias called that night. Voice ice over the line Richard put on speaker. You've shamed us, boy. End it, or I'll end you. Richard's face drained of color. Go to hell, Dad. The line went dead. We clung to each other, but the fracture lines were there, cracks widening with every hate tweet, every dodged call from his mother. Still, he fought. Held my hand at a fundraiser he crashed, turning his father's speech into a takedown. Love isn't a vote. It's a right. The crowd gasped, applauded, booed. Chaos. And in the melee, as we pushed through the throng, a figure in the shadows, a man with a Harrington campaign pin, ice cold as steel, muttered, "Freaks deserve what's coming. I should have seen it then." The betrayal brewing, not from without, but from the heart of the beast we loved. Winter clamped down on D.C. Like a vice, the cherry blossoms long gone, replaced by gray slush and the kind of cold that seeps into your bones and stays. Richard and I hunkered in, fortifying our bubble against the storm. My apartment became our bunker, takeout containers piling like sandbags, his law texts scattered amid my dog-eared copies of Baldwin and Auden. We'd make love by candlelight to save on bills, his body a furnace against the drafty windows, murmurs of mine, and always weaving through the dark. But the world doesn't let bubbles last. Elias's machine revved up, op-eds in the journal painting Richard as a confused youth led astray by radical influences. My face splashed across Breitbart, illegitimate lover or political pawn, digging up my dad's abandonment, my mom's cancer battle, twisting them into broken home breeds broken morals. Friends ghosted. My boss at the bar cut shifts, muttering about bad press. Even Lena, Richard's roommate, pulled back. Texts going unanswered. Excuses about exams. Richard noticed, rage simmering. They're cowards, he'd snarl, pacing my threadbare rug, blonde hair disheveled like a fallen halo. All of them. Not all, I'd say, pulling him down, hands framing his face. You've got me. His eyes would soften, lips finding mine in a kiss that tasted of salt, tears, sweat, the bitter edge of fear. What if I lose you too? You won't, but doubt gnawed at me, a rat in the walls. Nights when he slipped out for family meetings, returning hollow-eyed, smelling faintly of his mother's Chanel. At press, Gentle at first. What did he say this time? Nothing new. Just pressure, evasions, half-truths. The first lie, small as a seed, but it rooted fast. Christmas Eve, we tried normalcy. String lights on my sad little tree, eggnog spiked with rum. He gave me a silver ring, engraved with us, slipping it on my finger with vows whispered like prayers. I gave him a leather-bound journal, pages blank for the truths he couldn't voice yet. We made love slow, deliberate, bodies mapping forgiveness for sins unspoken. Afterward, curled against him, his heartbeat a steady drum under my palm, he said, "Let's run." After New Year's, Vermont snowed in, just us. I nodded, throat tight. Anywhere, but dawn brought the knock, sharp, insistent. Richard bolted upright, sheet pooling at his waist. Shit. It's him, Elias, in a cashmere overcoat, flanked by a stone-faced aide. No pleasantries. We're leaving. Now. Richard dressed in silence, movements jerky, while I hovered in boxers, arms crossed like armor. "Senator," I started, but he silenced me with a look, dismissive, dissecting. "David." A word. Outside, porch light buzzing like a hornet. He lit a cigarette. First I'd seen him smoke. "My son idolizes you. Thinks you're some martyr. But you're poison. Dragging him into this circus. Your circus," I shot back, voice low. "The one where you preach family values while selling out ours." His laugh was bark without mirth. "Spare me the rhetoric. End it, or I'll deport your ass back to whatever shithole spat you out." Rage boiled, but Richard emerged then, coat slung over shoulders, eyes pleading. "David, I have to go. Just for the holiday." The door clicked shut behind them, leaving me in the chill, ring heavy on my finger like a shackle. I slammed inside, punching the wall till knuckles split. Blood smeared the paint, red as the headlines that would follow. He called that night from a blocked number, voice muffled. "I'm sorry. He's got leverage, tuition, my trust. But it's temporary." "I swear." "Leverage," I echoed, pacing the empty room. "Or excuses?" Silence. Then, "I love you. Come spring, we're gone." I hung up, doubt festering. Spring felt like a lifetime. January thawed the ice but not the rift. Richard returned hollowed, interning full-time at his father's office. To keep the peace, he claimed. Dinners became texts, touches virtual. I threw myself into night classes at community college. Poli-Sci 101, dissecting the very laws that choked us. Professors praised my essays. Classmates whispered behind hands. Ruiz, the one with the senator's kid? Messy. One night, post-lecture, a guy tall, olive-skinned, easy smile, offered a smoke outside the library. "Heard about your drama." Rough. "I'm Alex, same class. We talked Foucault. Fags in the cold." His laugh warming the frost. Harmless, I thought. A friend. Richard noticed the lag in my replies, jealousy sparking when I mentioned Alex's study group. "Who's this now? Backup plan." "Ouch," I texted back. "Just surviving your absence. Senator Jr." His response. A voice note. Fuck. David. I'm drowning here. Dad's grooming me for the firm Harrington and Associates. Says it's legacy. Legacy. The word soured my gut. And us? Chopped liver. Never. Meet me tonight. Raven's Wing. Please. I went. He was at our old stool, 3 whiskeys deep, eyes red-rimmed. We tumbled into the bathroom stall, frantic zippers rasping, his mouth hot on my neck, hands claiming what distance had stolen. Missed you, he groaned, thrusting deep, walls muffling our cries. After, slumped against sinks, mirrors fogged, he cupped my face. I quit tomorrow. Fuck the internship. Relief flooded me. Yeah. Kiss. Soft. You're my legacy, but quits don't stick in DC. By week's end, he was back. One more meeting. Just signatures. Lies layered like lacquer, cracking under scrutiny. Valentine's. He planned big. Rooftop at the Hayatams. City lights sprawling like a lover's promise. Roses. Champagne. A velvet box with matching rings. Marry me for real, he said, on one knee, traffic humming below. Vegas, or City Hall, your call. Tears blurred the skyline. Yes. God, yes. We danced to phantom music, body swaying, his cheek warm on mine. No more games, he vowed. Full out. Public. Proud. The next rally was ours, March for Equality, mall packed with signs and songs. Richard spoke, voice amplified, hand in mine. My father taught me power. But you taught me love. And love doesn't negotiate. Cheers erupted, cameras flashing. We kissed on stage, defiant, the crowd a wave-crashing approval. Elias watched from afar, face thunderous on the Jumbotron feed. But for a moment, the world bent to us. Cracks widened post-rally. Alex invited me to a queer-lit reading, Baldwin tribute. Come alone, Richard snapped when I asked. Thought you trusted me. I do. It's just... Dad's aide saw us last week. With Alex. Twisted it. Twisted? We shook hands. Paranoia poisoned the air. Fights escalated. Him accusing me of playing the victim card. Me hurling closeted coward like shrapnel. Makeup sex was wildfire, scorching but leaving ash. April bloomed violent. Cherry blossoms bloodied by protests. Elias's bill passed subcommittee. Banning gender-affirming care for minors, a gut punch to trans friends. Richard abstained from family dinner, showed up at my door instead, bottle of tequila in hand. Help me forget. We drank, fucked, raged, bottles shattering against brick, his sobs racking as I held him. I hate him, he whispered. Hate what he's making me. Then leave, I urged, stroking sweat-damp hair. For real, he nodded, fierce. Tomorrow, dawn brought betrayal's first whisper, a text from Lena. David, check the post. I'm sorry. Headline, Harrington Scion splits from scandalous suitor. Sources say sobriety reigns. Photo, Richard, arm around a blonde sorority girl at some gala, her laugh captured mid-frame. Caption, back to basics? My world tilted. I called voicemail. Banged on his door, empty. Finally, a call from a blocked number. David, listen. You son of a bitch, I roared, voice breaking. Who is she? Beard. Dad's idea. Temporary. I swear. Swear? Like the ring? The vows. The line crackled with my sobs. We're done. David. No. Click. The ring hit the trash, glinting like a lie. Numb. I wandered U Street, neon blurring through tears. Alex found me at the Raven's wing, bought shots, listened as I spilled. His hand on my shoulder. Comfort, nothing more. But in the haze, it lingered. Richard's texts bombarded. Please, poems, promises. I ghosted, building walls higher than the Capitol dome. Work suffered, classes blurred. Friends rallied, Vixen dragging me to shows, force-feeding falafel. He'll crawl back, honey. They always do. May arrived muggy, magnolias mocking with perfume. Richard cornered me outside class, gaunt, unshaven, a ghost of the boy who'd stormed my heart. Talk to me. Nothing to say. I sidestepped, but he grabbed my wrist, gentle. I ended it. The internship, the fake dates, all of it. Dad cut me off, but fuck him. I choose you. I searched mine, desperate. Why now? Because losing you. It's death. Voice cracked. Please. I yanked free, but the fracture in my resolve spiderwebbed. That night, against better judgment, I let him in. We didn't speak, just undressed, slow, bodies remembering what words forgot. He entered me like atonement, thrusts measured, tears wetting my chest. Forgive me, he gasped, climax shattering us both. In afterglow, tangled, he confessed, he threatened your visa. Hired investigators. I panicked, rage flickered, but love smothered it. No more secrets. Never. We rebuilt, tentative, picnics in Rock Creek, hands laced without fear. He crashed at mine full-time, job hunting at NGOs, voice steady in podcasts decrying his father's bigotry. I'm Richard Harrington, he'd declare, and I'm gay as hell. Get used to it. Summer sizzled, our love a bonfire. Pride again, parade floats thumping, confetti raining. We marched arm in arm, rings glinting, the crowd chanting our names. Cameras swarmed, Elias's statement dripped disdain. Personal choices don't define policy, but they defined us. Then, the call came, August heat wave, AC humming futile. Richard's phone buzzed. He paled. Mom. Heart attack. We raced to Virginia. Innova Fairfax a sterile maze. Margaret lay pale, tubes snaking, Elias at bedside like a sentinel. He nodded curtly, truce? She's asking for you, son. Richard squeezed my hand. Unspoken. Stay. Hours blurred, beeps, coffee sludge, Margaret's frail grip on Richard's fingers. Proud of you, she whispered when lucid, eyes flicking to me. Both. Elias stiffened, but said nothing. Outside, in the family lounge, he cornered me. This ends her stress. Understand. Or what? I challenged. Chin up. He sighed, deflating. Or nothing. He's my boy. Your. His choice, not absolution, but a crack in the armor. Margaret stabilized, discharged to home care. Richard and I drove back, windows down, wind whipping confessions. She knows, he said. About us. Always did. And Dad. Working on it. Kiss at red light. Quicksilver. Fall semester loomed. I enrolled full-time. Richard 2 joint classes. Study dates in the library stacks. Stolen kisses between stacks of Federalist papers. Life normalized. Almost bills paid late. But together, arguments over dishes. Resolved in bed. October brought the rally, the big one. National Equality March. Richard keynote. Script co-written by us. Firebrand takedown of his father's legacy. Plea for unity. Hate isn't heritage, he'd thunder. Love is. Rehearsals in my living room. Him pacing. Me critiquing. More passion on the bridge. He'd grin. Pull me close. Like this. Hips grinding. Laughter bubbling. The night before, we made love like ritual candles. Wine. Bodies anointed in oil. Tomorrow, he murmured. Inside me, we change everything. I arched, gasping. We already have. Morning dawned crisp. Mall teeming. We arrived early. Volunteers buzzing. Richard's speech slotted for noon. Mine, a reader slot later. Hand in hand through the crowd. Rainbow flags snapping. Chants rising. Then, the shot. Chaos erupted like a bomb. The crack of gunfire splintering the air. Bodies surging in panic as Richard crumpled beside me, his blood hot on my jeans. No! The scream tore from my throat, raw, primal, as I dropped to my knees, cradling his head, the world narrowing to his paling face, blue eyes fluttering. Protesters scattered, counter-demonstrators in MAGA hats melting into the stampede, a few holding ground with smirks that curdled my soul. Stay with me, baby, fuck. Stay. Hands pressed to his chest. Stem the crimson tide, but it seeped through fingers like accusation. Medics swarmed, prying me back. I fought, snarling, till zip ties bit my wrists, cops, faces blank masks. Suspect in custody, one barked into radio. Shooter from the Harrington opposition. Opposition. The word twisted like a knife. Not random, targeted. On us. Sirens wailed him away, stretcher vanishing into the maw of an ambulance. I was hauled to a squad car, questions barraging. Relationship to victim? Motive knowledge? Betrayal burned hotter than grief. Elias's opposition. His machine's endless grind. Had he known? Sanctioned? Holding cell reeked of piss and despair. Concrete bench my throne of thorns. Lawyers swarmed by evening. ACLU hotshot. Pro bono for the queer icon. Bail posted anonymous. Richard's ring on my finger, my only talisman. Hospital wait. Fluorescent hell. Coffee vending prayers. Alex showed, face drawn. Hand on my shoulder steady. Heard on the news. Vixens rallying outside. I nodded, numb. They got the shooter? Ex-campaign staffer. Dad's guy. Went rogue. They say. Rogue. Bullshit. Margaret arrived first. Ghost white. Pearls clutched like rosary. David. Not embrace, but concession. He's in surgery. Lost a lot. We sat vigil. Strangers bound by blood and bullet. Elias stormed in hours later. Suit rumpled. Eyes hollowed. Aides trailed. Phones buzzing. He stopped short at me. Jaw working. You. Me. I echoed. Rising slow. fists balled. Your hate parade catch up, Senator. Security tensed, but he waved them off, voice a rasp. Not now. Collapsed into chair beside his wife, head in hands. For the first time, he looked human, cracked porcelain. Surgeon emerged at dawn, stable. Bullet grazed lung, nicked artery. He'll pull through. Relief buckled me. I slid down wall, sobs racking. Margaret touched my arm, featherlight. Go see him. ICU hummed sterile. Richard swathed in tubes, monitors beeping his fragile rhythm. I took his hand, cold, limp, whispering litanies. Fight, love. For us. His fingers twitched, miracle faint. He woke midday, groggy, morphine glazed. David, voice threadbare. Here, kiss to knuckles, tears salting skin. Scared me. Sorry. Weak smile. Worth it. Every damn second. News cycle devoured us. CNN loops of the shot. Pundits dissecting the kiss that killed. Elias's presser, voice cracking. My son is a fighter. This violence. It ends today. No mention of us. But the subtext screamed. Truce or damage control. Discharge loomed. We decamped to my apartment. Richard's convalescence a cocoon. I played nurse. Soups simmered. Pillows fluffed while he dozed, sketching protest signs on napkins. We finish it, he'd murmur, fingers tracing my scars. Expose them. Them, Dad's network. The shooter, not rogue. Emails, payments, I saw files before. Conspiracies web tightened. Richard, laptop bound, hacked old intern access, passwords unchanged, arrogance's gift. Screenshots piled, directives to monitor the Ruiz threat, funds to fringe groups spewing hate. Blackmail material, he said, eyes alight. We leak. I hesitated. Your family. Fuck family. This is justice. We drafted anonymously, WikiLeaks style, bundled to journalists. But leaks spring eternal. By week's end, Elias's team struck back. Subpoena for my records, immigration nitpicks, old bar fight charges dusted off. They're framing you, Richard fumed, pacing gingerly. Accessory or some shit. Fear coiled, but fury overrode. Let 'em try. November chill deepened. Election fever gripped the city. Trump-era ghosts rattling chains. Elias campaigned harder, re-election teetering on our scandal's edge. Polls dipped, donors fled. Richard's birthday low-key, cake from the corner bodega turned omen. Candle blown, wish whispered, truth. Midnight brought the breach. Door splintered, shadows bursting in masks, gloves, zip ties biting anew. Feds, I gasped, lunging for Richard. Worse, one grunted, cuffing us rough. Black vans, unmarked private security, hauled to a warehouse off New York Avenue, concrete echo chamber. Hooded, we sat back to back, breaths sinking terror. Hours ticked. Then, Elias, flanked by suits, face granite. You think you can destroy me? Richard spat blood from a split lip. Truth destroys itself. That. You just lit the match. Elias's hand cracked across his face. Echoing slap. Ungrateful. After everything, my ropes burned. I strained. Let him go, you bastard. This is on me. His gaze shifted, pitying, David Ruiz. Illegals like you, ruining good boys. But beneath, flicker, defeat, the leak dropped that night, our bundle, amplified by allies. Times front page, Harrington ties to extremist funding exposed. Chaos cascaded, FBI raids, donors indicted, Elias's office a sieve. They released us Dawn bruised, but unbroken. Van dumped curbside, no words. We limped home, Richard's arm my crutch. It's over, he wheezed, collapsing on bed. Not yet, I cleaned his cuts, salve stinging. We testify, December snow blanketed the city, purity mocking our stains. Grand jury convened. We spoke, calm, damning. Elias invoked fifth, resigned in disgrace, Virginia GOP imploding. Margaret divorced him quietly, moved to Florida. For the son, she said, slipping Richard a check. For you too, Christmas redux, just us, tree twinkling, rings reclaimed. To new beginnings, Richard toasted, champagne fizzing. To us, I countered, clinking. But scars linger. Nightmares woke him, gunshot echoes, I soothed with touches, whispers. Therapy beckoned, joint sessions, unpacking privilege's poison, my survivor's guilt. I dragged you into hell, he'd say. You flew in beside me, I'd reply. Wings and all, New Year dawned electric. Richard accepted at a progressive firm, me scholarship to GW Law, full ride. We sublet bigger, 2-bedroom in Shaw, balcony for stargazing. Spring brought trials, Elias indicted, plea bargain down, community service, the rich man's slap. Shooter confessed, paid to scare, not kill. Rogue, no, Elias's shadow. Summer solstice, we wed, courthouse simple, vixen officiating in sequins. Vows exchanged, in hate's shadow, I choose your light, rings slid eternal, kiss sealed under rainbow confetti. Honeymoon, road trip, Route 66 Redux, Ticarius in Texas, motels in Arizona, bodies rediscovering under desert stars. Free, Richard sighed, head on my chest, Grand Canyon yawning vast. Finally, back in D.C., life bloomed, clinic pro bono for queer immigrants, Richard litigating landmark cases. Protests persisted, but we led now, hands held, voices amplified. One night, post-rally, bar crawl with Alex, friend-zoned firm. Vixen, crew toasts to survival. You're legends, Alex grinned, clinking. Richard pulled me close, public as ever. Nah. Just lovers, but peace phrase. Fall winds carried whispers. Elias paroled early. Reformed. Letters arrived. Apologies scrawled. I was wrong. Forgive. Richard burned them, ashes swirling. Some debts unpaid. I nodded, but mercy stirred humanity's hook. Right back. Once. His reply, neutral, no absolution. Closure's ghost. Winter again, anniversary eve. Snow fell soft. We walked the mall, monuments aglow. Remember the shot? He asked, hand warm in mine. Every day, squeeze. But look, still standing. He stopped, turning, ice fierce. Marry me again? Vows renewed, laughter bubbled. Every year, Phoenix, kiss deepened, snowflakes melting on lashes. The world watched, cameras distant, but present. No fear. Only us. Yet, in quiet moments, doubt whispers. Is love enough against the tide? Elias's shadow looms. Reformed or not, politics hydra. One eve, post-dinner, Richard's phone buzzed, unknown. He answered, paled. Dad, I tensed. Hang up, but he didn't. Listened, nodded. Click. He wants to meet. Coffee. Neutral ground. Why? Says. Peace. For Margaret's sake. She's dying. Conflict clawed, betrayals echo. Your call. He paced. Storm raged. I go. Alone. End it proper. Dawn. He left. Khakis. No armor. Hours stretched. I cleaned. Paced. Prayed to gods forgotten. Text. At Starbucks. He's broken. Another. Asking forgiveness. For real. I replied. Believe him. Final. Maybe. Home soon. Love you. Door open noon. Richard. Coffee stained. Eyes red but clear. He cried. Admitted everything, the funding, the threats. Hates himself more than us. And I forgave. Not forgot. But free now. Embrace crushed. Sobs shared. Human, flawed, mending. That night, lovemaking cathartic, slow, sacred, bodies vessels for release. We're the legacy, he gasped, peeking. Yes, I echoed, shattering. Spring unfurled gentle. Margaret passed, quiet, surrounded. Eulogy Richards, grace amid grief. Summer rallies swelled our story fuel. Hands held, unyielding. But climax crests eternal. 1 July dawn. News alert. Elias. Stroke critical. Richard at bedside. Me beside. Go, I urged. Humanity's that. He nodded. Kissed fierce. Back by dinner. Vigil solo. I reflected journey's arc. Hate to hold. Betrayal to bond. Love's drama. Controversial canvas. He returned dusk. Exhausted, but lighter. Said goodbye. Peace. We dine simple tacos. Balcony. To endings, he toasted. To beginnings. Stars wheeled. DC. Hummed below. Us defiant. Whole. Yet, in whispers, future beckons. Children, adoption fights, politics call. For now, hand in mine public, fearless. Enough. The stroke that felled Elias Harrington wasn't just a medical footnote. It was the universe's cruel encore, forcing us to confront the man who'd nearly unmade us one last time. Richard spent nights at the hospital, commuting between beeps and our bed, his face a map of exhaustion etched deeper each dawn. I'd wake to cold sheets, brew coffee strong enough to strip paint, and wait, thumb scrolling news feeds alive with speculation. Disgraced senator fights for life amid family feud. Family. The word mocked, a punchline to our tragedy. Margaret's funeral had been a dignified blur. Black veils, hymns hollow, Richard's eulogy a tightrope of filial piety and unspoken fury. She taught me compassion, he'd said, voice steady, me in the pew behind, hand ghosting his back for strength. Elias hadn't come, too proud, or too broken. Now, Ironies bite. The architect of our pain, tethered to machines, gasping for air we once fought to breathe free. Should I go? I'd ask mornings, packing his thermos, kissing knuckles bruised from clenching. He'd shake head, blonde curls unkempt. Not yet. He asks for you, though. The admission hung, grenade unpinned. Me, David Ruiz, the threat, the stain, summoned to the deathbed confessional. Rage simmered, but curiosity, that humanistic itch, prodded. What does he want? Absolution. Richard's laugh bitter. Probably. Or to die staring at his sins. Weeks dragged. Elias rallied, then faltered, yo-yo of vitals. Doctors murmuring end stage. Donors trickled sympathy cards. Old allies ghosted. One eve, Richard returned hollow, dropping keys like stones. He signed papers. Everything, house, accounts, to me. Make it right, he said. I pulled him close, chin atop head. And you forgave more. Told him about the wedding. Showed the rings. Pause. Shudder. He cried. Said, I was afraid of losing the name. Fear, the great leveler. We made love then, urgent, reclaiming agency, his body arching under mine, gasps prayers of release. You're my name, he whispered post-climax, fingers lacing mine. Always. Elias died mid-September, autumn leaves turning traitor red. Funeral state affair, caskets polished, eulogies sanitized. Richard spoke last. He was flawed. A fighter. May we learn from both. No mention of us, but the subtext sang, reconciliation's quiet roar. Aftermath. Estate wrangles, lawyers circling like vultures. Richard donated chunks, LGBTQ youth shelters, immigrant aid. His legacy, rewritten, he declared, signing checks with flourish. We exhaled. Finally, fall crisp, air sweet with release. Law school ramped, clinics co-led, briefs co-authored. Nights, debates over wine. Should I run? Local. Maybe. Change from within. I arched brow, swirling Merlot. You? Politician. Reformer. He grinned, foot nudging mine under table. With you as my secret weapon. Laughter eased tensions unspoken. Betrayal scar ached occasional. Trust's fragile rebuild. But romance bloomed resilient. Anniversary trip to Provincetown. Cape Cod gales whipping dunes. B&B bed creaking under passions renewed. Remember DC. Winter, he'd murmur, tracing my phoenix tat by firelight. Felt like dying. Now, reborn. Kiss deep, salt tang of ocean on lips. Back home, conflicts simmered subtle. My heritage clashed his polish. Thanksgiving at my aunt's in Baltimore. Tamales steaming. Stories of abuelas fierce. Richard Dove in bilingual butchering Spanish, earning laughs. Your family's fire, he said later, driving home, hand on thigh. Like you, Christmas, our tree, ornaments mixed, his silver icicles, my papal picado. Gifts intimate, leather cuff for him, inscribed, fearless. For me, adoption pamphlets. Kids? He ventured. I shy. Heart stuttered. Someday. When ready. Spring 2026 brought bloom and barb. Richard's op-ed in the Post. From privilege to pride. Why I left my father's shadow. Viral storm. Praise from allies. Vitriol from holdouts. Trolls doxed us anew. Security cams installed. Walks wary. One night. Post-threat call hoax. But chilling. He paced. Shadow long. Worth it? The exposure. I rose. Arms banding waist. Every handhold. Every speech. Climax crested unexpected. June rally. Anniversary of the shot. Mall thronged. Scars visible. Richard's limp faint. My flinch at pops. Fireworks. Now. He keynote. 2 years ago. Hate fired. But love loaded the chamber. Crowd thundered. We kissed. Cameras capturing. Post-speech. Envelope slipped into his pocket. Anonymous. Cream stock. Inside photo us. Wedding day. Circled in red. Note. Not over. Watchbacks. Ice-flooded veins. Elias's ghosts, Richard muttered, crumpling. Old guard. We reported. FBI yawned. Ongoing. Paranoia partnered. Locks double-checked. Routes varied. Romance retreated to fortress, bed as bunker. Touches tender but edged. July heat wave amplified unease. Alex. Over beers at Ravens, now ours. Sorta. Warned. Heard whispers. Elias's ex-aide. Bitter. Running fringe pack. Richard stiffened. Let M whisper. But sleep evaded. Nightmares shared. Gunshots. Slaps. Shadows snatching. Therapy doubled down. Betrayal's echo, Doc said. Confront or carry. Confront we did. Tracked the aid. One Marcus Hale. Hold in Virginia exurb. Compound barbed. No confrontation. Just evidence. Harassment logs. To lawyers. Injunction served. Pack shuttered. Relief short-lived. August. Clinic bombing. Pipe device. Queer center uptown. No deaths. But glass shards. Screams echoing our trauma. Richard volunteered triage. Hands steady bandaging. I coordinated aid. Voice hoarse rallying donors. In rubble's wake. He broke. Curled on couch. Sobs seismic. Why us? Always us. I held. Rocking. Because we shine. Targets. Kiss salt sobbed. Promise me, if it ends. Shut up. Fiercer kiss. Stripping clothes. Bodies slamming affirmation. Thrusts defiant. Climaxes cathartic screams. We endure. Fall cooled tempers. Case against Hale built. Testimony hours. Climax in court. He folded pretrial. Plea to misdemeanors. Coward. Richard spat post-hearing. Courthouse steps. Like his boss. Squeeze hand. Public paparazzi flashing. Humanism's thread wove. Letters from strangers. Your story saved me. Youth outreach swelled. We mentored. Panels on coming out. Resilience workshops. One kid. Trans teen from Virginia. Hugged Richard. Senator's son? You're why I fight. Tears his. Mine. Nah. You're why we do. Winter solstice. Solstice party. Friends crammed our place. Eggnog spiked. Drag lip-sync battles. Vixen crowned queen. Alex proposed to his girl. Cheers erupting. Richard pulled me to balcony. Snow dusting shoulders. Kids soon. Heart swelled. Yeah. Agency hunt starts January. Grin wide. Kiss snow soft. Family. But drama's undercurrent pulsed. Richard's run. City council. Exploratory. Change the system, he pitched. Flyers mocked up. I nodded, trepid. Just us first. Promise sealed bedward. Love languid. Exploratory. Spring 2027. Announcement party. Backyard bash. Toasts to audacity. Elias's ghost absent. Finally. Campaign kicked. Door to door. Hands shook. Stories swapped. Vote Harrington, the real one. Opposition slithered. Attack ads. Flip-floppers fling. We countered, debates fiery. Richard's retorts razor. Love made me. Hate breaks you. Polls climbed. Wedding anniversary mid-campaign. Vegas redux. Elvis Chapel. Vows updated. In chaos. I choose calm, you. Honeymoon micro Shenandoah hike. Tent under stars. Remember the warehouse? He murmured. Fire crackling. Binding. Not breaking. Hand to belly. Early bump? No. Dreams. Back. Push intensified. Climax. Final debate. Town hall packed. Opponent sneered. Your lifestyle distraction. Richard leaned mic. Voice steel. My life. My love. My strength. Turned to camera. To me off stage. David. I joined. Hand taken. Partners. In all. Gasps. Applause wave crashing. Election night. Victory. Narrow but sweet. Confetti. Cheers. Kiss televised. But betrayal's final twist. Concession call. Opponent. Gracious. Then, congrats. But Hale sends regards. Chill. Hale. Paroled early technicality. Shadow lingered. We fortified security detail. Brief. Richard sworn in December. Oath hand on Constitution, our rings beneath cuff. New year. New roles. Councilman Harrington. Advocate fierce. Me. Clerking at firm. Adoption papers filed. Yet. Eve of term. Envelope again. Hale's scrawl. Endgame. Panic spiked. Cops alerted. Stakeout set. Trap sprung. Hale arrested midnight. Plot foiled. Ricin letter. Intercepted. Interrogation. For the senator. Legacy. Richard testified. Closing. Legacy's love. Not loss. Hale jailed long stretch. Ghosts exorcised. Summer lull. Family grew. Foster placement. Toddler boy. Curls like Richard's. Papa David. He babbled. Tiny hand in mine. Richard teared. Worth every bullet. The toddler we named Luca arrived on a thunderstorm's heels. All chubby fists and wide-eyed wonder. His case file a litany of neglect that twisted my gut but fueled our fire. Ours now, Richard whispered that first night. Cradling him in the nursery we'd painted sky blue. Stars stenciled on walls like promises. I leaned in the doorframe, heart bloated with a love fierce and unfamiliar. Paternal, protective, the kind that makes a man rebuild worlds for a single giggle. Council duties ramped for Richard, bills co-sponsored, queer rights fortified, immigrant protections bulwarked. Mornings, coffee-fueled briefings, Luca gnawing toast at high chair, babble syncing with policy riffs. Daddy fix bad laws? He'd ask, syrup sticky. Richard'd ruffle dark curls, mirror of mine. Damn right, buddy. Evenings mine. Park romps. Story hours with Baldwin board books. Bedtime songs in Spanglish. Richard home late. Tie loosened. scooping Luca for airplane spins, then us, tucking him, wine unwinding knots. How was the vote? I'd ask, feet in lap, massage easing tension. Passed. Anti-discrimination expansion. Kiss to instep. Your amendment sealed it. Pride swelled, partnerships poetry. But politics ground fine. Death threats filtered, staff vetted. One eve, post-town hall, Richard slumped, scotch in hand. They called me puppet. Daddy's puppet, pulling Ruiz strings. I knelt, hands on knees. You're the hand, love. Mine, laughter low, leading to bed, love-making mellowed by fatherhood, slow grinds and whispers, bodies homes eternal. More, he gasped, peeking. Always, fall foliage framed family hikes Shenandoah again. Luca backpacked, pointing squirrels. Boom, he'd yell, mimicking rallies he'd never seen. Richard chuckled. Not boom, Mijo. Brave. Winter holidays. Extended kin. My aunt's tamales. His cousin's tentative. Thawing post-Elias. Toasts bridged divides. To roots. Remade. Luca's first snowman. Lopsided. Carrot nose askew. Prompted war. Snowballs flying. Richard's aim true. My surrender kiss muffled. Truce? I laughed. Luca clapping. But humanism's test came subtle. Elias's effects lingered. Library named in apology. Harrington Equity Center. Richard debated attending ribbon cut. Hypocrisy. Or healing, I countered. For Luca's world. He went. Speech gracious. From division. Unity. Handshake with old foes. Cameras clicked. Progress pixelated. Spring 2028. Luca's adoption finalized. Courtroom tears. Judge's gavel benediction. Party backyard. Vixen in diaper drag. Alex's fam. Toasts torrential. To the Ruiz's Harringtons. Lena returned. Hugs healing old riffs. Summer swelter. Beach vaki. Outer Banks, waves crashing. Sandcastles toppled. Luca's first boogie board wipeout met with cheers. Nights. Porch swings. Richard's head in lap. Toes sand-dusted. Council term ends soon. Senate. Ambitions spark. You'd crush it. But us? The glare. I stroked jaw. We've danced worse spotlights. Debate simmered. Pros. Power to pivot. Cons. Crosshairs renewed. Betrayals past loomed. Hails sell quiet. But echoes. Fall primaries loomed. Richard declared. Statewide. Progressive platform. Campaign trail. Iowa farms to urban lofts. Handshakes. Speeches searing. Luca charm offensive. Vote Daddy. Posters. Dimples disarming. Opposition vicious. Super PACs. Elias ghosts funding smears. Radical Romeo. Ads sneered. Wedding clips twisted. We lawyered up. Countered with authenticity. Town halls tandem. My stories grounding his polish. Climax. Debate night. Philly Arena Electric. Opponent. Grizzled incumbent. Your personal life divides. Richard leaned. Calm thunder. Love unites. Ask my son. Luca waved from wings. Crowd-eyed. Polls surged. Victory night. Balloons burst. Luca asleep on shoulder. Senator Harrington. I toasted. Private suite. Senator Ruiz Harrington. he corrected. Ring twirling. Partners. Senate swearing in. January chill. Capital steps. Irony's apex. Hand on Bible. Eyes mine. Oath unbroken. DC deepened. Townhouse upgraded. Staff bustling. Luca preschooled. Bilingual buzz. Evenings legislated. Bills birthed over bedtime stories. Romance ritualized. Date nights. Raven's wing relics. Booth reserved. Dances slow. Still hold? He'd ask. Palm out. Always. Public palms. Fearless. Conflict-crested midterm. Scandal brew. Anonymous drop. Richard's old emails. Compromising with ex intern. Fabricated. AI deepfake. Frenzy media. Senator's secret. Heart plummeted. Betrayal redux. Richard raged. Hale's playbook. Investigated. Trail to rival's aid. Indicted swift. Presser joint. Lies can't touch truth. Handheld. Luca photo op. Family fortress. Humanism prevailed. Op-ed mine. Post. From bullet to ballot. Love's long game. Viral. Voters rallied. Summer recess. Family road trip. Route 66 true. RV rumbling. Luca's queries endless. Stops sacred. Grand Canyon vows renewed. In vastness. A small but mighty. Fall push. Midterms title. Richard's seat safe. Allies elected. Election night. War room whoops. Luca confetti crowned. Post-victory. Quiet. Bed. Bodies entwined. Tired. I murmured. Hand wandering. Never of you. Thrust gentle. Rhythm remembered. Climax quiet. Profound. 2029 dawn dynamic. Bill's landmark Equality Act 2.0. Protections ironclad. Richard floor speeches. Firebrand heirloom reclaimed. Luca's school play Tree in Nutcracker. Front row tears. Papa proud, Richard whispered. Birthday bash. Surprise party. Vixen MC. Roasts roasting. Toasts to endurance. Yet, bi-drama. Donor dinner. Old Harrington Ally corners Richard. Your father's rolling in grave. He smiles steel. Mine's dancing. Romance reignited. Anniversary Paris, Eiffel glow. Sane strolls. Hotel trysts torrid. Still hook you? He'd tease. Eiffel shadow. Every line. Back. Life layered. Luca's questions budding. Why Papa David Brown? Daddy pale. Truth tender. Mix makes magic. Conflict minor. Teen years loomed. But now baseball games. Library halls. Climax micro. Luca's first crush. Boy from class. Handhold shy. Like you and Daddy? Richard knelt. Exactly. Brave like us. Tears ours. Later. Legacy, I said. Loves. 2030. Decade mark of shot. Memorial rally. Plaque unveiled. Our names etched. Speech Richards. Hate fired. Love answered. Still does. Crowd vast. Hands held. Multi-gen. Multi-love. Post. Home. Luca asleep. Us wine warmed. Buy or tragedy? He mused. Head on shoulder. Human, I replied. Happy human. Kiss sealed. Deep. Enduring. World outside churned. Politics churn. Hates Hydra. But here, hand in mine public. Fearless. Senator's son. Once shadowed. Now son. And us? Eternal flame. Epilogue whisper, Luca, future activist, artist, guides. For now, enough. Love story, unfinished, dramatic, debated, deep. American as apple pie and picket lines.